Hey guys, so instead of doing my usual walkthrough, today I'm going to give you a video review for Shadowrun. I stumbled on this game a few weeks ago, and though it was released back in 2007 on both the PC and Xbox 360, the community is still alive and kicking, though not with the kind of popularity as you would find in Call of Duty or Battlefield. Unlike most shooters nowadays, this game isn't all about realism, upgrades, or finding which gun is the most powerful, and then running into every situation with it. Camping will get you nowhere, running off on your own is a great way to get killed in a hurry. In fact, Shadowrun is different from most modern shooters in just about every way. There is no story or single-player component to Shadowrun, which is both surprising and disappointing, considering the fact that the game is based off a tabletop RPG with a very rich backstory and game world. If you are looking for a story, it basically goes as far as you are either Lineage, which is the red team, or RNA, which is blue, and you run around and shoot each other because neither of you likes the other one's color. It's a multiplayer-only game, much in the style of Counter-Strike Source or Team Fortress 2, and that could be a negative thing when it comes to the longevity of the game. The game is set up in a deceptively simple way. There are 4 races to choose from at the start of every game: human, elf, troll, and dwarf. Each race has its own benefits and stats, with varying health, running speeds, essence, which acts as the mana or casting power in this game, and certain passive abilities. The elf, for example, has low health, but is incredibly fast, meaning that if things get hairy, you have the best chance of outrunning your opponent, and they can also regenerate health when left alone for a few seconds. While trolls are slow, but have high health and a rock armor ability. Finding out which race best fits your playstyle and testing each one for its benefits can actually lead to a lot of gameplay time. After you pick your race, you have to choose from a selection of spells, tech, and weapons. This is where the game gets incredibly diverse and the longevity really shines. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of combinations of tech, spells, and weapons, and finding the one that kicks the most amount of ass can be incredibly rewarding. The game features only basic weapon types, such as an SMG, a sniper rifle, a shotgun, and a rocket launcher. If you are one for close-range combat, then there is even a katana, which you can use for up-close and personal executions. While the weapon selection may sound limited, don't be fooled, since the weapons are, arguably, the smallest factor when it comes to combat tactics. You then choose from either spells or tech abilities to augment your character to give you an edge in battle. The spells seem to be simple, but using them effectively takes both skill and a bit of luck. You have spells like Teleport, which is most useful when you use it to jump through walls, or Resurrect, which can bring fallen teammates back from the dead. However, Teleport can consume essence quickly, and if you die, your resurrected allies begin to bleed out, which will drain their health quickly, meaning they will soon follow you to the grave. Every spell has both advantages and disadvantages, and you will need to discover both in order to use them effectively. On the tech side, instead of draining essence, they permanently take away a few essence orbs from your total reserve while they are equipped, but usually provide passive bonuses rather than activation. These include abilities such as Smart Link, which both disables friendly fire and improves accuracy slightly. The real meat of the game comes from combining spells and tech to form you into the most badass character on the field. But rather than earn these upgrades via experience points like you would in a game like Modern Warfare 2, you can purchase any weapon, spell, or tech at the beginning of every game. Much like Counter-Strike, actions in the game award you with money, such as killing or damaging enemies and healing or resurrecting allies. Each weapon, spell, and tech costs a certain amount of cash, so it will take you a few rounds to get everything you need to make your character as powerful as you want him to be. After each game ends, you start a new game, and all your purchased abilities are erased, meaning that every game can mean different tactics. You can choose to use the same loadout every time, or vary it based on map, but it allows for a lot of tactics and diversity, which is a pretty cool feature. Each game consists of different rounds. You only get 1 life per round, so if you die, you have to wait until one team wins the round to be brought back to life, unless you are resurrected by an ally, which can only happen once. The first team to win 6 total rounds wins the game, and a new map is selected. The game types don't provide much variation. Each one is some kind of capture the flag and team deathmatch hybrid, so you're either going to kill everyone or go after the artifact, which functions as a flag, which is kind of limiting. It would have been nice to see a zones game type or an attack and defend game type, which would have been a nice variation. Technically, this game is sort of a mixed bag. For a 2007 title, the game does look pretty good, with decent weapon and character models, lighting effects, and some really cool particle effects for spells. The sound also works well, with all the weapons sounding good, so you won't be marred by goofy-sounding SMGs or weird-looking pistols. It's all good, but in a pedestrian sort of way. It doesn't stand out, but that can be both a good and a bad thing. However, some of the animations look a little stale, such as katana swings. And on a weird note, there's no ladder climbing animation. So when you watch a character climb a ladder, he just floats upward, which can be a little odd to see when you are in the heart of combat. Now let's talk about the downsides. Like I said, the game is online only, and with a lack of single-player content, the maps can get old fast. As can the weapon modes, and that can lead you wanting for a game with a little more variation. What's more, the game offers literally nothing in terms of character advancement, meaning there is nothing to unlock or work towards. So after a while, you will probably feel as though there is no point to keep playing, unless you really enjoy the game. By far, the largest downside is how steep the difficulty curve can be. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to find a game that isn't full of trigger-happy noob tubers, but at the same time, this game has a learning curve like a brick wall drenched in Vaseline. You won't get good at this game fast, and believe me, the old players will not appreciate you taking up a character slot. Thankfully, the game does have several tutorial missions which teach you about the game's combat, and it also features an offline mode where you can play against bots to get your skills up and learn the maps. However, for most players, I feel as though this simply will not be appealing, considering that so many other online games are easy to pick up and enjoy. This game definitely takes a while to get used to, and by a while, I mean months, not weeks. Furthermore, I find the bullet damage to be a little on the ludicrous side. I sometimes empty entire machine gun clips into foes only to have them still alive and picking me off with a pistol. It seems that this game is designed more for accuracy than bullet damage, and that makes it especially hard for new players, since movement or continuous fire severely limits your aiming ability. Getting kills in this game will take a great deal of time, and even more frustrating is that you will encounter more teabags than you would have in Boston Harbor 1773. The community is very specific, very tight-knit, and they will kick your ass for a long time. In the end, I can recommend this game only to those who are really dying for a new multiplayer experience. It offers something different from modern shooters. In a cool twist, you can play with people from the opposite platform, which does expand the user base, and it doesn't feel as though any one side has a distinct advantage. Considering that you can pick this game for under $5 at GameStop, it's not hard to recommend for the price, but it takes a long time to get decent at the game, and it can be very frustrating. I give this game 3 out of 5 stars, but it's definitely worth checking out if you enjoy a good, challenging online experience.